So guys, welcome. Today is the very first episode of ZTR News, and we are starting this episode with big news from Richie Mo'unga is coming back to New Zealand. We will talk about some Super Rugby drafts, some World Rugby news, and you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So guys, welcome to the very first episode of ZTR News. So yes guys, starting off big, the main headline of this week's news is Richie Mo'unga signs an 18-month deal with the New Zealand Rugby Union, confirming that he will be back commencing in July 2026 and running through to the end of the 2027 World Cup cycle. The agreement sees Mo'unga is returning to Canterbury Rugby as well as the Crusaders for the 2027 DHL Super Rugby Pacific season, and will become eligible for the All Black selection from October 2026, making it possible that we might see him in the November Test series. A couple more things. The chief executive Mark Robertson welcomed Mo'unga's return, saying we are really pleased to have Richie recommitting to New Zealand Rugby for Crusaders and the Canterbury Rugby Union. He's a proven talent with a strong track record of performing on the biggest stages. His experience and leadership will be tremendous asset in the environments he joins on his return to New Zealand, which is 100% true, guys. Man, his win record through different competitions is insane. Going from back to back championships for Crusaders, as well as back to back championships for Canterbury, and then when he moved over to Japan, back to back Japan Top League trophies for his team as well that he played in. So really big news, awesome news to see him back. If this is the route that Scott Robertson wants to go for the All Blacks, next year in the World Cup, we'll just have to wait and see. Putting pressure on Damien McKenzie, Bowden Barrett, and even people like Ruben Love, who can swap in at number 10. So very good news to see him back. Some other news, guys, as well. Returning Lester Whaihanuku returns to New Zealand and he joins his former Tasman team as well. And he played over the weekend as well, and he's back from 2 years in France, the 7-test All Black. He started for Tasman Marcos last week against Manawatu. The wing will replace Tamosi Tavanawai, who is back in the All Black squad, which is heading over to Argentina on Friday, guys. He's a very, very talented player. It's great to see him back. He'll be back for the Crusaders next year as well, and just making that pressure on, I guess, also the centres and the wings for, Billy Proctor and also the likes of Severis, and Rico Ioane, Caleb Clark, and Monty Nalawa, putting some pressure on those guys. That we know Lester Whaihanuku can play 13, 11, 14, or I think maybe even 12 if he played 12 a couple of times, I think. But yeah, it's awesome news to see him back and still kicking in like he did before he left New Zealand. To some Super Rugby news, guys. Some interesting swaps and gains for some teams for the 2026 season. One of the main ones is the former All Blacks winger George Bridge signs with the Western Force next year, and he has a 19-test to his name for the All Blacks. He did play in the 2019 World Cup in Japan. And before heading to play for the top 14 side, Monty Pella in 2022. He has come back. The 30-year-old will replace Wallabies winger Harry Potter, who left Perth base forced to join the New South Wales Waratahs. So pretty interesting swaps for the Super Rugby and for Western Force. Some more Super Rugby signings. Aidan Ross, made his switch to the Queensland Reds and played his debut against the Lions, which was extraordinary for him after playing for so much times for the Chiefs. He'll be continuing with the Reds in the 2026 Super Rugby season as well. Warren Dearns, a New Zealand-born player, eligible for Japan though. He has joined the Hurricanes My Team for the 2026 Super Rugby season. Taking a sabbatical from his Toshiba Brave Lupus club in Japan. The big dog, Nani Lamape, the former All Black centre, who has been abroad in France and Japan, will join Moana Pacifica for 2 seasons, starting in 2026 and going into the end of the 2027 Super Rugby season. And also Angus Blythe, the lock, moving from the Queensland Reds to the New South Wales Waratahs ahead of the 2026 season as well. Some not really signings, but people leaving Super Rugby. Mark Talia will leave the Blues at the end of the 2025 to play in Japan starting in 2026. His specific club hasn't been officially confirmed yet though, so when that gets confirmed, keep an eye out, subscribe to the channel so you can see more news, and you'll be able to find it out when that news gets released. Noah Lolosio from the Brumbies as well. He will depart to play overseas in 2026 as well, with reports linking him to Japan side as well. Some other guys that I'm not going to just go fully into detail just because it's just too big. Moana Pacifica has announced 15 players will be leaving the club ahead of the 2026 Super Rugby season, and however on their destinations and new teams within Super Rugby Pacific haven't been provided yet. We're not too sure who has left, who's moved on, what teams have they moved into, are they moving abroad, what other players are coming in besides from Nani Lamape. But yeah, Joy Nasafoa, a standout from the Fijian Sevens, is set to join the Fijian Drua as well for a 2-year deal. And Fini Anisi, currently at Moana Pacifica, has moved to the Dragons in Wales after the 2025 season, not staying within the Super Rugby Pacific. So that's some Super Rugby news for you guys. Moving on to some World Rugby news, guys. Zimbabwe has booked their first Rugby World Cup spot since 1991. They held off a late fight back from Namibia to lift the Rugby Africa Men's Cup title at Mandela National Stadium in Uganda, and qualified for the Men's Rugby World Cup 2027 in Australia. So it'll be very interesting to see. Congratulations to them as well, and it'll be very cool to see what pool they'll be put in and what teams they'll be up against for their welcome back since 1991. Also, for some more World Cup news for the rugby, Hong Kong, China qualified for the Men's Rugby World Cup 2027 following their victory in Asia Rugby Championship as well. Hong Kong have secured their spot for the World Cup in Australia after defeating Korea 70-22, guys, in the final round of the Asia Rugby Championship in 2025. This result marks their first ever qualification for the World Cup tournament. So big congratulations to them, guys. It'll be a very, very honor. I know they'll go in there with not expecting too much, but just to be able to experience that for the first time and just have a good time and meet some amazing other players that are from around the world. To top this video off, guys, the Women's World Cup starting this year in 15 days, guys. The pools have been announced. Let's go through them just real quickly just before we end this video. Pool A has seen England, Australia, USA and Samoa taking on each other. Pool B has got Canada, Scotland, Wales and Fiji. Pool C has got New Zealand, Ireland, Japan and Spain. And Pool D is rounding them off with France, Italy, South Africa and Brazil. So very, very interesting pools, pretty competitive pools, I might say. You can look at Pool C, you can look at Pool A and B as well. actually all of them. You can look at all of them are very, very competitive. You can look at the likes of Brazil and South Africa, New Zealand, Ireland, and Japan. You can look at Canada as well, with with Wales and Fiji. You can look at England, USA, Australia. So very, very interesting pools, and it's going to be a very, very good competition for the Women's Rugby World Cup, and starting in 15 days. But you guys, that's the first episode of ZTR News. Let me guys know what you thought of this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to check out next week's news video as well for the weekly update news, which I want to be trying to start and get more consistent of every week. So look out for that, guys. But thank you guys so much for watching the video. Like and subscribe if you liked it. And without further ado, guys, that's all from me. Have a good one.